Everyone. Welcome again, and joining us on for our online Connect Talks, the searching of the Holy Grail for online meetings with our good friend Eric the Groot. This is part 2. So as some of you may know already, we've been introduced a little homework activity from the last time, 3 weeks ago, when we had our first interaction with Eric, and actually we were supposed to share some experiences that we have done in online meetings in the past 3 weeks. So if you haven't been able to join the first part, it's okay, sit tight, and if you have anything that you have done in the past 3 weeks, you have the opportunity to share as well. But in any case, I'm David, your steward and host. Our good friends from Connections are here, where Michaela, Greg, Gemma, if you could all wave, and Alejandro are here as well. And we'll be helping you throughout this experience. And Alex will be taking notes, as we did in the first part. We did take notes, and we did share with our community members, and we're happy to share those notes from the first part over to you if you don't have. Just let us know. We're here to help you. So anyway, if you have, I'm sure that you know that if you haven't used Zoom before, but please feel free to ask questions, but you could chat on the chat button on the bottom, which appears on your screen, and you're able to always ask us a private question to one of the Connections team, and we'll be able to help you. Okay, but without further ado, I just want to give the session over to Eric, and we could start. Over to you, Eric.
Okay, good. Now, good morning, afternoon, and evening all around the globe here. We're just in the middle of a big quest for the Holy Grail. We're doing online meetings all the time, and we want to improve them. Because if they're not done very well, they suck energy. If they're done very well, they can give you a lot of focus. So there's all reason to look for that Holy Grail. The Holy Grail, of course, for those of you who don't know, is coming from the stories of King Arthur and the knights that were around the table, and they were all looking for that little cup that consisted and had the happiness in it. Now, so in fact, we are looking for online happiness, and how does that work? Now, in the last chat 3 weeks ago, I shared a couple of insights, and the secret that I shared with all of you was go and look for activities, because doing things together, making online meetings more attractive, is all about involving people online. That means giving them things to do. Now I see you, now that you are knights looking for the Holy Grail of online meetings, you're not an audience anymore. You're detectives, you're participants, you are in this. This is a working program. This is a work in progress. There's no audience in here. And that is key, again, being able to say to people, you are all an audience, or you are in the working process. That makes a lot of sense in online meetings, to make that clear to people. So now I hope you can accept that you're part of the working process. And because that is the case, I'm going to ask those of you who've done an experiment over the last couple of weeks, after having been attending the last chat, please raise your hands if you've done an experiment. Okay, we have 2 people here. Anyone else? Of course, Rob haven't done. Okay, Natalia's done an experiment as well. Alejandro, you've done something small. Han, you've done something. So we have 3 people here. Now, what we're going to do is carefully listen to what they've done, what that little activity was that they've inserted in an online meeting, and we're going to try together to understand why it was a failure, why it worked, and I'm going to help you to how you have to think about this. Now, let's pick a choice. Natalia, ladies first. How about you? Could you share? Good to have you today here. And it's the early morning in Peru, so you're sharp and fresh. So please.
It's not that early, but I slept
No?
late. It's
Okay.
8 a.m., you know. Most
right.
of the times I get up at 6, but today,
good.
no.
Yeah.
Well, so my experiment is not an actual experiment during a meeting, but we are doing an experiment with a world tour because
Yeah.
we've been doing several online experiences, live online experiences in our social media. Besides the DMC that we own, we have an agency as well focused on South American clients. So within the agency, we decided after 3 months of doing live, independent live experiences, you know, in several parts of the world, we decided to put it all together in a long extended session of 17 hours of different experiences, one after the other. So now we're working on that experiment and trying to fit everybody from abroad, you know, with considering the time zone here in Peru. So yes, that's my experiment right now.
So you haven't done a little experiment, you've started the whole laboratory, is that correct?
Yeah, that's us, you know. We decide to do something and we just go, you know. And I put a time limit, very ambitious time limit, you know, because we're working also with a bank here, and the private segment of the bank has asked me to do some online meetings for them. So we are also doing things for them, and we are trying to create experiences that are not only online. So clients are gonna get something in their home before the actual experience, to, for example, a wine tasting, you know, so they have the Portuguese wine and then they have the wine tasting on the day after, you know, or something like that. So we're trying to be as much creative as we can, you know, to keep things going and keep the energy up.
Now, when I look at you, I'll see a courageous knight here, a Peruvian courageous knight. And I emphasize
we are all in. Yeah. We are all in, you know.
So being courageous, I'm going to challenge you, because you've done experiments and stuff was successful, and there were failures as well. Now let's focus on an activity, something that you tried out, and could you share a nice big failure? And now the other nights here, together here, of course, we have confidentiality here. This is not about, Natalia made a mistake, we're going to laugh at her. No, that's not the case. We want to learn from failures as well. Could you share an example of an activity that you wanted to do and that just didn't work?
I mean, when I realized that it wasn't working, I make the best to make it work. It happens that here in Peru, well, we speak Spanish, you know, so experiences are sometimes in English. And this time it was a talk from an Ayurveda doctor in the Himalayas. And everybody started to, you know, first I was afraid that nobody was going to, you know, register, because it's like your birthday, you know, you have your cake and you have everything ready, and then is someone coming, you know, you always feel afraid that no one is gonna go, you know. So that was the first concern. But then everybody started, you know, registering, and then we have like 65 people registering, and I was like, oh my God, this is so great, and I was so excited, you know. And my excitement covered the fact that the talk was in English, and everybody here speaks Spanish, you know, my clients and everybody, they do speak English, but not to understand about the doshas and the Ayurveda and all these concepts that are so much more specialized, you know. So I had to tell everybody that in fact the talk was going to be in English, and then a lot of people never replied to me, and I was like, oh my God, nobody's coming, like nobody's coming. So I started talking to my friends, like close friends and my family, just be there. I don't care what you're doing, just be there and put your camera on, so I'm not gonna be embarrassed with this Ayurveda doctor, you know, and all this. So then we had some family, some friends, but we did have like 20 people logging in from like real clients, real people, and they were all very interested, but it was in English still, you know. So then you saw me like translating all the content in the chat group next to it, you know. I actually studied translation in my career, but I haven't done it for so long, and simultaneous translation is so much harder, and more when you're talking about a specialized subject like Ayurveda medicine. So I was like, well, it was so great because everybody was so like, oh, Natalia, thank you so much, you know. So we did come through, you know, but it was quite stressful to not think about the language when I was supposed to think about it in the beginning.
Okay. Thank you, Natalia. That was courageous. Sharing failures is a good thing to do among professionals. Thank you. Now, obviously, you focused on an aspect of introducing activities in online meetings, and language. Obviously, language is important. People need to understand what you're talking about. Is there anyone else who had a big failure because of a language gap? Is there someone else who could share an activity failing because of a language gap? Anyone else?
If no one has anything, I'll say something, but let the audience say first.
Yeah. Okay, Han, in Taiwan, you obviously are communicating with people in Chinese as well as in other languages. How important is language online when you want to do and when you want to share activities? How does that work on your side of the globe?
Yeah, I think the clear message is very important because we have English and Chinese languages barrier. So also the connection for the internet also crucial, because sometimes the message break. So when we do some activity, maybe not everybody understands. So we need to make slides to help people to understand that. So that's the experience. So if you want to give that instruction, you have to make it very clearly.
Very clear. And is that how? Because I've learned how complicated and how different the Chinese language is. Is Chinese helpful in explaining activities? How does that work in Chinese? Yeah, it's hard to compare to other languages, of course, but do you find English easier or more difficult to explain an activity to people, to give an instruction?
English is more easy because in Chinese, there's a lot of implied. So maybe people will confuse these terms means what. So we have to make sure everyone get the same message. Even though it's the same character or same word, it can be different meanings in different situations. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, Elling, up to you. I know you as a Norwegian speaking perfect English. What is, in language-wise, the difference between Norwegian and English if you want to give instructions to people? And again, you came in a bit later. We're still trying to find these bits and pieces of the Holy Grail of online meetings. And also for you, Abhay, you connected later. We are here in a session in which we try to find the bits and pieces of the Holy Grail of online meetings, and giving instructions and having people do activities online together in a working process is key, is one of the keys that I shared last time. Now I'm asking you, Elling, now we're talking about language. Is there a difference? Do you feel a difference between the Norwegian language and the English language in giving instructions to people?
Well, I only do it in English in practice, but it has never occurred to me that there is. Maybe Norwegian and English are too close as languages. I don't know. It's an unknown concept to me.
It's not an okay. And
maybe
how
think about it harder.
How receptive are Norwegian people to accept an instruction to do something online? Do you have any experience with this?
Well, of course, there are big cultural differences. In general, by giving instructions to people to do something, typically in Norway and the Scandinavian countries. I mean, there was a hotel manager who left his job after 3 months. He came from Switzerland. He said to one of the hotel staff, "Will you do that? Will you do something, please?" And the person said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, because I've told you to." And he said, "Well, you have to explain why should I do that?" And that's a big cultural difference. And in Norway, in the working environment, you want to make sure yourself that what you do is meaningful, and otherwise, why should you do it? And that's part of the Nordic management model, which means it's harder to get people to do what you want them to do, but then you mobilize the resources of all employees to think for themselves, what is meaningful doing, how should I prioritize my time, etc. But that's culture rather than language per se.
Okay, interesting. Thank you, Elling. Now, Natalia, talking about language, you brought us to the field of intercultural differences in having people do activities together online. And now we learned from Elling that giving a reason in the Scandinavian countries is important. Now, I can assure you, I've done some work in Australia. In Australia, that's not necessary at all. You just give people something to do, and they're just gonna do it as long as it's a bit competitive. If it is competitive, if it is fun, and there is beer in the assignment, they are gonna be totally happy. So the intercultural differences, they count. Another example is in my work in Germany, I experienced that in Germany, you have to be absolutely in charge. You have to know and show to people, I know what I'm doing. I'm giving you all the tools, and this is what you're gonna do. And then they're just gonna do it. Pretty easy. Now, conclusion, bits and pieces of the Holy Grail is it's fun to give people activities. Be aware of the language, because language counts in order to give really good and meaningful assignments and instructions. And finally, be aware of intercultural differences when you give instructions, and try to understand what is needed in the different regions in the world. Okay, is there anything that people here in the working group would like to add about this in the field of language and intercultural? Rob, do you have any experiences in giving assignments to people, asking them to do things internationally? What is your experience here?
Thank you for passing. I think it depends on the context. I think it depends on whether it's a meeting amongst your own organization or with partners, or it's with clients or suppliers, etc. So I would say there's a context of both. So there's got to be a motivation, clearly, for a purpose and a reward for anything that goes on. One of the comments I would make, having run global conference calls for many years now across multinational organizations, one of the things I found, certainly from being often remote in dealing with those calls, is the shift recently to video conferencing has, I think, leveled the playing field. I'm not sure how many other people have experienced this, but working for a large global organization, often what you find is if you're dialing in as a single person or a few people from around the world, and there's a group of people in a meeting room, that often takes over, and there's the balance of the call or the topic is not very well made, because the people in the room forget they're people dialing in, unless it's well managed. So one of the things I found out, certainly my experience recent few months, is there's much more recognition and understanding of a balanced agenda and audience and making sure that everyone participates. So for me, I think that's a good thing coming through this process of learning how to properly include as many people as possible and their opinions in any meeting, whether it be external or part of an internal workshop.
Okay, thank you. That's an interesting view, and as well a pro about what is happening in our COVID period. This period in our lives is teaching us how to look fresh to other people again, and that's good. That's a reward of what we're going through. Now the word reward resonates with me. Maite, before I go to David, because David, I want to invite you to share your activity. Maite, in asking people to do an activity, do you think in your culture you need to be so clear about what the reward is that is connected to that activity? Is that? Could you share a couple of things?
Yeah, I think that, here in Spain.
Sorry to interrupt. Before I give you the word, Eric, can you raise your volume a little bit? I have a comment from Abjay that we're not able to hear you.
Oh.
Yeah. No, Eric.
Oh, okay. Me?
No, Eric. You're perfect, Maite. Okay.
Continue. Okay, I'll do a little tryout. Yeah. Is it better? Is it better? My microphone is in my throat now.
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Yes. 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay.
Okay. Now
then we continue. Maite, please, your thoughts about rewards connected to activities, please.
Yeah. Hello, everybody from Spain, from Barcelona. Well, yes. From my point of view, I think that. Yes, you have to be very clear in the message and to stick to the point, that to show that people get the message you want to transmit. I have not made many experiences in conference or activities. In my case, I collaborate with a tourism school in Barcelona, imparting some lectures. So, and in my experience, I see for the young people mainly, you have to transmit very clear the points, and even if you can advance a written introduction in order that the message even is much more clear for them and to know. From the beginning, what we are going to tackle.
Okay.
I think in my case is my opinion and my experience, and I think it's better if you can introduce before something just a resume about the subject and the points they are going to develop later.
Okay. Good. Great. So what I understand from you is that you're confident that Spanish young people in Spain are open to be involved in activities as long as you tell them very directly what you expect from them. Is that exactly. A fair summary? Yeah, right. Okay. Well, that is hopeful. That is hopeful, because that means that we have a channel to communicate to many people and at the same time ask them to do things. And that is hopeful, because this world needs action. We have so many problems. So if you are able to give very clear instructions, give a reward to people, you can have large numbers of people actually start doing things. Isn't that a hopeful idea? I think that's a hopeful idea. Now, David, thank you, Maite. David, if we connect to you, I know you've done an experiment and you developed something that in the field of making things meaningful can play a role. Would you please share that to us?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's all type of gatherings, not only the meetings world, but we have a faith gathering every 2 Sundays online, obviously, because there's no possibilities to meet here in Spain face to face at the moment. So I wanted to try out something that we learned last time, and one was a co-creating activity. And actually, I did it.
David, just trying to repeat. I want everyone to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about face to face, but you're talking about faith to faith, right? So believe. It is a religious gathering, right? Let's have our definitions really clear. Language is important. We've learned this from Natalia. So you have a religious meeting and you developed something. So go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, we just we have a creative gathering that we do every 2 weeks, and it's called Mosaic. So it's kind of discovering faith like a mosaic, piece by piece. And we have this meeting. It's a personal meeting that, and we have been doing it on Zoom or online every 2 weeks. And I like the idea of co-creating a character and using that character to help people get in other people's shoes. So you created a character. We did remember the co-creating activity that we did last time. We actually wanted to create a person or a fake character that we could actually try to understand that person a little better and what their questions may be about faith in general. So we created Dolores. I'm going to share with you Dolores. That's Dolores right there. She's a 17-year-old girl from the barrio of Gracia in Barcelona. Okay, she's very, Gracia is where Greg lives actually. So she's very active in the community. She wants justice for everyone. If you go a little closer, you will see that she has a lot of piercings, tattoos, and she has her boyfriend as well. They have a lot of questions. They don't like injustice in the world. They don't like a lot of things that happen in the world, no? Racism, homophobic, etc., etc. So we created this character, and it was a co-creation idea. And then we decided to actually draw it. Last week we took a person that draws, and we created this character. So now we're using this character every time we meet to just try to put ourselves in other people's shoes when they think about things. So we use Dolores from now on. And the first time we used her was actually this past Sunday, and it was really, really successful. Actually, people really got the idea and they're excited because now it was a good opportunity to just to make it a little more fun, and also just to see a visual of something that they probably cross themselves through the street with a person like this, and now they actually get to see it, and we could use this character throughout the online meetings in the future. So,
okay, David.
Yeah.
A couple of facts and figures, because anyone who's ever have dealt with a marketing company, they know they produce personas. They do this. A persona that is a symbol for the client. And sometimes that's a family, sometimes it's an individual. We know that works. But you created that persona online. Is that correct? You did that together with a couple of people. How many?
25 people.
25? Mm-hmm. All right. And what is your feeling about how they own this? Is there ownership with the 25 people?
The 25 people were very different people. Actually, there was some older crowd and younger crowd, but the ownership, they are excited to actually meet this person or this fictional character. And they feel like they're part of something, that they have co-created something. And now they are excited to just, when you throw questions out there, because it's an interactive session, we put the image of Dolores. What would Dolores think? I know what you think. What would Dolores think? So that's an interesting.
Right. Okay.
Dolores appears is supposed to be putting yourself in another person's shoes, and this was created online, so it was interesting.
So a conclusion that I quite often hear in the discussions about online meetings is you can't really be creative online with a group of people, because I mean, you just, I see faces only here. It's somehow, it is artificial. But now you gave us a story that you co-created something online with a group of people and they own it and it is alive. And that is special, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it works, Have you ever explained that to people who were not in the group that originally created this person?
Yeah, actually I did.
And do they accept that this is a person that was co-created online? Does that work?
Yeah, they actually, I had a friend, she was supposed to be here actually, from Peru. She wants to steal that idea because she's a university teacher and she wants to steal that idea for her students. And she wants to create a character for her online classes and she wants to steal it. I said, go ahead, steal it, no problem. So actually was, yeah, it was good as well.
Wow, that's interesting. Anyone else in the group here who's ever done co-creation? Let's focus on this. Anything, Susan? You've any? Can you remember any online meeting in which you co-created something together? Ooh,
Eric, I wouldn't say online, but right now, but I can see in the future, in the next couple of weeks. So let me give you some background. What I did is in April here in the UK, I could see a lot of my clients who were obviously spending a lot of time in their gardens and didn't have access to any seeds. So what I did is I actually sent about 150 of my clients sunflower seeds, and I said, sending you some seeds of happiness to sow. And the engagement that I've had has just been immense, to the fact that, you know, I'm here in June and I'm still getting pictures of people sending me, look, Susan, look at the growth, you know, they're starting to grow. So potentially what I'm going to do in July is do something online where I'm engaging those people who now have, you know, these teddy bear sunflowers that have grown in their gardens, and maybe I'll use, you know, an online meeting as a platform to bring these people together that have nurtured their flowers, and we, you know, it's almost like a mini celebration of what we've all grown together, but yet all separately.
Okay. So you help nature to create something here.
True. Yeah, I did.
Okay. And that is connecting that group of people as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you prove this? Do they talk to each other?
You can see it's the number of shares I've had on social media, whether it's my Instagram or whether it's my Facebook, and you can see people who've posted something on Insta and they're saying, oh, I got mine off Susan as well, or look at mine growing. So there's beginning to be this connection as people's seeds are actually, you know, growing, and they've actually something to share. You can see the engagement between them. So I need to embrace that. I haven't quite worked it out yet, but there's an opportunity for me to really engage everybody together. I just don't know what that looks like at the moment.
Okay, now we have the theme here, and that might be a piece of the Holy Grail as well. If you allow people to somehow get involved in creation or co-creation, like what David did, creating a persona, and what Susan did in having seeds and they just grow together, that creates a bond between people, right? That is what you both told us. Now, that is interesting because a couple of months ago, before the COVID period, if you would ask a professional, is it possible to create a bit of bonding between people online? The vast majority would have said, no, sorry, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. I mean, to bond, you need to be in the same place, right? And now we have two examples here of things that an activity that you gave people to do that created a certain bonding as well and was functional as well. The gardens are looking more beautiful, and David's group is able to be in other person's shoes, and that is really helpful in what that group is all about. So co-creation is possible online if you do it well enough, and you need to be courageous and creative. then it is possible. It is possible. Now, Jose, you're in Ecuador. Can you give us an example of social bonding by people doing an activity together online? Is that, can you give us an example of something? And you can share a big failure as well. Others in this group were courageous enough to share a failure.
Well, basically, I won this in a, well, I was lucky and I got this seat for international certification of coaching, and the organizers were very nervous because they've always done it and face to face, in person, and this was the first time they were doing virtually. So when they did it virtually, it seems that they came together with people from other countries that are also coaches. So we end up with a group, we are about 30 people with coaches from different countries of in South America and somebody from the United States. And I feel very close to these people that I've been sharing things with. And the nice thing is that it's an international, I mean, instead of, you know, if they would have done it just in Ecuador face to face, it would have been just with people from Ecuador. But now we are interacting and sharing some intimate things with people from all over the place. And I believe we all feel very close. So it's been a great experience. And the way that they have managed this online, it's been good. Basically, you know, we meet with Zoom and they have breakout rooms. They have different exercise. I mean, you have some theory, but then you have a lot of activities and exercises and things like homeworks and stuff that you have to do and that you have to share. And between classes, you have to meet with the group in order to validate the ideas and stuff like that. So it's worked wonderfully, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Jose. You introduced an interesting aspect of meetings in general and online meetings especially. Michaela, I would love you to say a few words about creating trust online.
Okay.
Because the moderator and the owner of the Connections community online, how does that work? I'll give you the floor in a second. Jose, we know interculturally there are differences in how people deal with trust building. And now you've done something internationally, which is involved also sharing intimate things. What was necessary? What is key here to make that happen? How come people start doing this? Can you share a thought and an experience in your group about how that happened? Why did they do this?
I think, I mean, since these people are professional coaches and they've been certified by the International Coaching Federation, you know, in the first class, they were very, they repeated over and over again that this is a kind of a confidential space, you know, a safe place to share things and how coaches professionally deal with these things when they are with clients. And they share some of their ethics codes and stuff like that. So that was kind of a good step. Then on each of the groups, when you break out, you have these, what they call these mentors, you know, that are the people that are working with us. So they, you know, based on their questions, you know, they guide us through, and it felt natural. It felt natural, to be honest. So they did a good job.
Yeah, okay, good. This is interesting because we don't fully understand the mechanisms of trust building online yet. But we start to feel a couple of clues here. Now we have two people that are in the call, but we can't see their faces. And which is a Norma Bock, Now, I know Norma, but in general, do we trust Norma Bock now? She doesn't show her face. What happens? Maybe she's listening. Norma, are you from the CIA or the KGB? Who are you?
No, sorry.
Here she comes. Now
Yes. I'm here, but I don't have camera in my computer, so I'm so sorry. But
right.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, good. So now I've felt over the last couple of months doing so many online meetings how important seeing a face is. Abhay, you were absent for 10 minutes. Now somehow we felt, what is this guy? What is he doing there? Now how can you share a bit of your how online goes in your country? You're obviously from India or Bangladesh or that region of the world. Is that correct?
New Delhi.
New Delhi, yeah. I saw New Delhi, yeah. You're muted, Abhay. Okay. Stuart, can you connect to Abhay to see if...
Yes. Go ahead, Abhay. You can talk now.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Now talking about trust building in India online, how does that work?
Well, it's working a lot because in last 2 months when we had a lockdown situation, almost I would say after 15 days, we almost have a webinar and online conference like every day, 2 or 3 conferences.
Yes.
So yeah. It's like everybody is hooking in. I remember one of the suppliers, the Switzerland Tourism, in fact, was doing one of the webinar, and one of the guy from Switzerland called me that, you know, how many people we had today? I said, no, just tell me. He said, 2,200 people looking at me. So I said, why don't you spend so much money on hotels and the wine for just 100 people, where you can do it much cheaper for 2,000 people together around the world.
So you're talking about the upscaling events online. That works really well, right?
Well, I would say as of now, there's no other option. Otherwise, I would still like to have a glass in my hand.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think this is a reason for hotel people to start being really worried? Because they're not, people are not going to travel anymore. Say, well, online works perfectly well for me.
No, I think the memory of the people is very short. The moment it's over, the vaccination comes. I already many clients who tell me, when is the first flight starting? Book me on the first flight.
Oh yeah, okay.
So there are people who have fear. Yeah. There are people who want to just jump out from their bedrooms.
Yes. Yeah, they're all eager to become inefficient again.
Yes.
We want to waste time. We want to waste time.
I had a presentation from one of the hotels, and she was doing like showing the sheet, but that's not the feel when you interact in front of each other. That's not really, the human touch is not there. It's a virtual touch. Then I can still go to the hotel website and see what the hotel is offering with the latest information.
Okay. Yeah. I understand. Okay. Thank you for sharing this. Let's go to Michaela. Michaela, please share a few observations connected to the Connections community and how trust building works here. And let's end there. We had an hour. And we are all night, we're very busy, so let's try to finish within an hour. And I'll wrap up, and we've done a couple of findings here, that is good. But Michaela, how does that work, Connections as a platform? How does trust building work?
Thank you, Eric. To say that this period for us was challenging, I think it was an understatement. If you think about the fact that we've built Connections as a brand based on face-to-face intimate meetings, all about people, connections. It's in the name, it's intrinsic in its own DNA. So when the actual crisis hit and we went onto lockdown, I was lucky enough to have such an amazing dynamic team. And I'm not saying this because they're on this call, but I really, really do feel that and mean it, that we managed to pivot 360 degrees in the space of a couple of weeks. And that's thanks to also the initiative that was taken 6 months to a year ago of creating an online community. So the plans were already there, but we weren't ready for any stretches of the imagination. But within the space of 2 weeks, and I'm not joking when I'm saying we worked day and night for 2 weeks, we launched Connections Community, fully online. And we have we've mirrored our face-to-face events, our socials, our talks, our interactivity, our connections, the trust, the people, the DNA onto online. Now, there are two different products, and I'm not claiming the fact that it's the same thing, because it isn't. Especially when I said to David and the team, I want to try to do socials on a weekly basis. And I think they all looked at me as if I was coming from Mars, with no agenda, with no prescribed things to do, just to catch up, because I felt this loss of seeing people and of interacting and saying, hey, how are you? Which you would do in a normal environment if you were to meet people and then have dinner with them and they're at the bar or whatever. I really, really miss that. So I wanted to recreate it in a social environment online, and we've never done anything like it. So we just did the first one, and the guys say, oh, okay, they know I'm a bit crazy. So, they could just but say, fine, let's try it. If it goes wrong, it's all your fault. But they had faith, and we gave it all a go. And it was great, I think. It actually, people wanted it, and now we do it every week. And we all have, if we don't have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, because it depends on the time frames, because we do every Thursday, either at 10 a.m. UK time or 6 p.m. UK time, to capture all sides of the world. So it depends. Some come with a cup of coffee, others come with wine and biscuits and cheese and biscuits. But I was very pleasantly surprised as to how it turned out to be amazing. And I miss it, actually. Sometime last week I was on holiday and I couldn't be there. And I did miss it, because it's, I actually arguably would have met people that I would have only have met maybe once, meet them a lot more than once. And I actually get to talk to them, and it's a completely different dynamic, okay? And I take that, but you can build trust. And we have built this community with the people that are and have been on these types of calls. I have been utilizing these socials to ask them, hey, I'm including this new functionality. Hey, I'm doing the Connection Virtual Week. What do you think I should do? Should I give you the freedom? Should you do that? Should I do the other? And people have been actually consultants to us. And the amount of trust and the amount of friends that I have made deeper than before, it's really astonishing.
Okay, that is interesting, because what you, yeah, no, I'm not muted. No. What you add to it is this aspect of really being interested in what other people can add, right? What you say, I'm asking people for advice online, and that is in a way an activity that you do. You're really interested, and you really want to involve people. Wait, Jose is laughing here, and Rob as well. What's going on here? I picked it up. Are you chatting here? You're making jokes here? No. Don't explain it on mute. We can't follow you, Jose. So what's going on here? What's going on here?
Nothing. Pretty sharp, Eric. Yeah.
Okay. Now again, yeah. This is the difference between face-to-face as well. Normally face-to-face, we would have smelt what's going on between these two gentlemen, but now it's not. Well, okay, good. But it's fun, it's fun. Now, you're adding the aspect of being really interested in other people and in a way asking for advice and really listening to it. And that is a meaningful activity as well. And that creates trust. Is that a fair summary of what you say?
Yeah, and it is just really a way of people that might not have actually ever met before to actually meet together. And we do a round of introductions, which I realized we haven't actually done. So if you feel free to say who you are, what the name of your business is on here before we end, because it's always good to expand your connections. Because not everyone may know each other, but it's people meeting people that they might not have known, and breaking out in rooms and having a conversation with someone that you may not have necessarily have met at an event, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, great. Thank you for adding this, because and we close to ending this, and I'm going to give you a little wrap up, but in the end, it makes me hopeful for humanity, because here in the western part and the southern part of Europe, we've seen amazing things, and a good example of what is really amazing is what is happening in education. Normally, if you want to change something in education, you're gonna need 70 committees, a huge budget, experts that are in a steering committee, and 7 professors to really validate what you're doing. And now in some universities, in a couple of days, they changed all their procedures to online, just without having any committee working on it. And I think that is a great lesson for all of us. Just do it. And that is, I think, hopeful for us as humanity. We're capable of changing if we really need to. There's a lot of sound here. Someone is gonna mow here. This is good. Now this is good. I'm gonna mute because I'm gonna give you 15 seconds to think about the question. And I want a short and compact answer of all of you. We talked about activities as being part of the holy grail of online meetings. Inserting activities in your program has a strong influence on what is happening between people in an online meeting. We can conclude this. And we concluded that language is important. Giving people a reward is important. Being very clear in what you ask them to do. Co-creation is possible. If you do it really well and you say why, you can create a persona, as what David did. Upscaling is easy. UpHigh gave us an example of scaling up things in online meetings very quickly. That is good and hopeful. We talked about trust building and how sending seeds to people. Whoa, sorry for this sound. Now I'm going to ask you, can you still follow me? There's a lot of sound here, but yeah, you can follow me now. I'm going to ask you this. Please finish the sentence. A online activity is going to be successful if, and just give us one clue. Just give us all one clue. We've been talking about this now for an hour. You've done experiments. You've experienced many online meetings. Now, coming back to all this, what is your conclusion? An activity in an online meeting is going to be successful if. Now, 15 seconds to think about this, and then give.
You achieve, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Who's talking?
Natalia.
Yeah, okay, Natalia, go ahead.
I think whatever you do, whether you have problems with connection, internet
sorry,
connection,
Natalia,
whatever.
sorry. Natalia, sorry. Now you have to think about this first. 15 seconds.
No, I already thought about it.
No, think again. Think again. And I don't want you to give us a whole series of thoughts. I just want you to finish the sentence. an online activity is going to be successful if one sentence, and that's going to be it. Okay. Okay, sorry, Natalia, I will get to you in a second, but let's just start. Maite, what is your sentence, one sentence?
Yes, I just write down right now. I think that it could be much more successful is you choose a good content and interesting content, and thinking about the people that is going to attend the webinar or the conference or whatever, and also to invite to interaction, because otherwise you avoid the boring. I think that you give the opportunity, like you are doing right now, to participate.
No, don't explain. Just the sentence. Okay, good.
Good content and interaction.
That is key. And interaction. Okay, thank you. Abhay, how about you? What is your sentence?
Duration short, not very long duration.
Okay, thank you.
People switch off their cameras and go to have a coffee.
I understand. Thank you. Terrific. Norma, how about you?
Yes, share ideas between the participants.
Share ideas. Okay, thank you. Yasmin, Sayed, did you follow it up till now? Do you have one sentence, please, for us? An online activity will be successful if... No, that's not going to work. Then we go to Jose.
If well prepared and communicated.
Thank you. Ellen.
If it exploits the myriad of online tools available for almost any activity.
The myriad online tools. Good, thank you. Suzanne.
Show your face.
Yeah, I love that. Really, yes, great, thank you. Natalia, yes, here we are. Go ahead.
If we achieve engagement.
If we achieve engagement. Thank you. Alejandro.
Yes, same. I was going to say engagement as well. If you manage to keep people engaged throughout.
Okay, thank you. Rob?
Probably mine is relevant, interesting, and rewarding. So time well spent.
Time well spent. Good. Thank you, David.
Something similar as by sharing between participants to get input between each other.
Good. Thank you. Gemma?
If people are participants and not the audience.
Okay, good. Terrific. Thank you. Gregory?
To unlock shared emotion.
Shared emotion. Good. Thank you. Now, Michaela, up to you. Final words.
If you put your heart into it.
All right. Oh, that's a deep one. Thank you. That's good. That's good. Now, guys, thank you. And if we add this all up, we have all these bits and pieces now together. Spent some time after this call thinking about how you can glue them together. And then probably we have the first piece of the Holy Grail in our hands here together. And if I look back to how online meetings were perceived, let's say 6 months ago, there's a lot of progress. There is a lot of progress. I've seen amazing things happening online. Now we are using a relatively simple platform like just Zoom. But Elling, he's right. There are myriads of tools going on, and stuff is being developed to give a more deeper experience to people as well. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I would be worried having a hotel or an airline because I have to say I haven't seen an airplane for 3 months now, and I'm not missing it at all. Of course, I'm missing to just hug Elling. Yes. Yeah, he's different. I haven't seen him for months and months now. Yes. But I'll get my boat and I'll go visit him. So it's a good, yeah, sort of a reboot of our society. Let's celebrate that. And again, we need knights like us to be to have an open mind to see what is working and what is not. And I enjoyed this again tremendously. Thank you for this, and good luck online and offline in your lives, and stay please. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, before we let, thank you, Eric, very much. Before we finish, I just want to, first of all, thank you for being brave. It is a very highly participative interaction that we have in this ConnecTALKS. So thank you for being brave, for participating, and thank you, Eric, of course, for leading it. Before we go, I'm sure that most of you already know about the Connections online community, and we have things happening all the time. Obviously, like the ConnectTalk that we did right now, we will have more things happening as well. So if you guys have not been, are not part of the community yet, please do let us know. Greg, Michaela, myself, Alex, or Gemma, and we'll be happy to guide you to the holy grail of the online community. But just to share the next things that are happening, I will share a screen. This is the online community. It's nice and pretty, if you could see it. So that, in 3 hours from now, we're going to have a social, the famous social that Michaela mentioned before. We have it every week, every Thursday. We have it 6 p.m. London time, one Thursday, and then we have it in the morning, so we could reach out to the Asian market as well. So we have some time to have a drink. That will be happening later. Please go to the community and register here. We'll be having next week the ConnectTALKS spotlight on luxury travel in Africa. We have a special guest coming, so check us out there as well. We have the social next week. We also are launching our Connections Virtual Week, which is a week of B2B one-to-one meetings and experiences. We're going to be trying out a lot of experiences, Eric, by the way. So check us out here as well. There's more information on the 13th to the 17th of July, when it's happening. And we'll be doing a lot of experience throughout the week besides business as well. We will be hosting some webinars to explain how the virtual week works on the 25th and the 26th of June. So there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in the Connections community. So do reach out to us and we'll be happy to guide you through. So that's it. No little thing or big thing is too big for us. We're happy to help at any time. And I want to thank Eric again. And thank you all for coming. And until next time, have a lovely afternoon, morning, and evening. See you all.